Coach Griffin here with Coach Kim, and we are going to tackle something as we go into a holiday weekend, how to stay on track when your environment changes, right? So we all feel safe. We all feel good when we're in the confines of our own home, in a familiar setting. But what happens when we get pushed out to vacation, a friend's cabin, and just an environment maybe where we don't control all the variables? And Kim, I'm going to throw this at you. I mean, when somebody comes to you with these types of concerns, like, hey, I'm going to my friend's cabin for 3 days, I've been rocking, these are my fears and my challenges, words of advice that you spit at these guys.
The first question I ask is, what's your goal? What do you want to achieve? Whether it's a regular weekend, a vacation, or whatever, because you have to align your actions with your goals. And I think it's way easier if you're crystal clear on what you want to accomplish. Do you want to progress forward? Do you want to maintain? Or do you just not want to blow your frickin' progress to smithereens in the course of 3 days? So if you're, and every single one of those answers would come with different advice then, because we know what we need to do if we want to progress. Right. We've got to, and I would say, it's great to ask for help if you have those people like that, your significant other or that friend that knows you're on a health journey and they may be there, or your sister or brother or whoever. And you can say, you know what, this is going to be hard for me. Cheer me on or help me, blah, 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 blah. But when it comes to when it comes to actually doing the work, we can't necessarily, because not everybody's on our journey. So you have to be the one that's making the choices and actually doing the work. But first step is getting clear on what the heck do you want to accomplish? Because if you go in there not thinking about it, you're just setting yourself up for a big fat failure, generally speaking.
I think people, what I think for me personally speaking, when I was going through kind of my biggest changes, I was just so hyper focused on, almost kind of becoming obsessed with just a better version of me, to where the outside distractions, they weren't as tempting to me anymore. Like, I didn't desire to do a lot of the things that I had been doing previously. So I think a really good question to ask yourself is that even something that you want to do? Like, just putting yourself in that situation, does that do anything for you, for your life, for your family's life that benefits them? If it's just going to be going up there and it's going to be a rager for the next 3 days, that might be something that you want to have a second thought about. But the biggest variable in all of this, like we're talking about variables changing, environments changing, is you, right? So when you're determined and you're set on what you want to accomplish, the outside circumstances aren't going to play as big of a role. So when you're focused and when you're determined and when you have it set that, hey, I'm going to get through this because my goals matter this much to me, those challenges, they're not going to be as hard. They're just not. Now, it's a lot easier to say than when you're in the environment and when you're in that situation to follow through, but get tough. Show yourself what you're made of. I also think people think it's going to be this giant inconvenience to everyone that you're around. It's not, right? If you're up somewhere and they're grilling, it's no different for them to throw a piece of chicken breast or a turkey burger on the grill for you as it is for them to throw brats on there. It's not.
Bring your food with. Bring what you need to support your goals. You're spot on. If everybody is having bratwurst, you can throw a turkey burger on. Throw a chicken breast. Throw a turkey bratwurst. I mean, they're all levels up, and you get to decide. If you don't have the food with you, you have no other choice but to fail and to rely on somebody else to support your goals. It's not their job to support your goals. It's your job to bring with what you need. And then you can also kind of give people, bring something to share that supports you. And all of a sudden they're like, wow, this is healthy and it's really tasty. And you might be pulling some other support in that way as well. But
I think people build these days or these weekends up to like, it's going to be something that they'll never, ever forget. Like, oh my gosh, this weekend, like, I don't want to wreck it, but you've had this weekend 1,000 times in your life.
Yeah.
Right. I can't recall one Memorial weekend where I said, man, I'm so glad that I overindulged in food, booze, alcohol. My life is better for it. I don't. And maybe you do, but I don't.
No. No,
You know,
no.
what I want to do is I want to have a good time with my friends. I want to have a good time with my kids. I want to create memories going out on the boat and being in the sun and socializing. But I don't need to do that and feel like a fatso because I pigged out and I
Right.
drank all day and I feel terrible the next day and I have all these ambitions and plans to get up early and go for a walk or a jog and now I'm not because I stayed up too late and I did all the things that push you out of that. You
Right.
should remember what's important to you. I mean, I think everyone's always looking for this simple solution. Like, how do I get through this? How do I get through this? You get tough. You
Yeah.
become a better version of you. You become bulletproof. So these things,
They
they
don't
just
even phase
push
you.
them to the side. Yeah. But I think if every single event, you're going to need a giant pep talk. How do I get through Memorial Weekend? I'm like, it's a weekend in May, guys. It's not Christmas. It's not Easter. It's not the 4th of July, right? It's a weekend where we have one extra day,
Right.
right? And Memorial Day isn't about you pigging out. Like, remember what the holiday is about. So I really think it's just you got to get tough. And if you're not okay with getting tough, you're going to struggle no matter what you're going for because toughness is going to help create this version of you that the world hasn't seen. Because the version of you that got overweight, stopped working out, pigged out, drank alcohol, that's a weak version of you. And we're trying to kill that version.
100%. And I would also say, is it about all or nothing? No. If
Yeah.
if the only 3 days you're worried about are these next 3, 4 days, that's one thing. But if every single weekend you're at the cabin falling short, feeling bad come Monday, then you gotta level up. You have to level up. You gotta get clear on what the heck you want to accomplish because falling short every single weekend and then using the extra day as, oh my gosh, for some reason this one means even more. I have, like if you're not drinking or you're not eating this stuff, like you're going to ruin everybody else's Memorial Weekend. Well, you know, I mean, that's thinking pretty highly of yourself. That's a lot of power. But I mean, you can't do it every single weekend. If it's just 3 days and, you don't want to track as much, own it at least. Be okay. Don't come next Tuesday when the check-in sheets start coming in and going, the woe is me and I can't believe I did it. And I mean, we have many, many, many clients, and the person that comes to mind is Laverne because I mean, this girl travels. She goes to the concerts, but I tell you what, she is on. And when I say
Yeah.
on, she is freaking on 90% when she is home and she's not doing. She's not 50, 60, 70%. Because if she was, she wouldn't be looking like she is and she wouldn't have transformed her body. So it's not about never being able to sit around and have a beer and a burger. It's about what are you doing the majority of the freaking time. But don't let yourself off the hook so easy. Like you said, it's an extra day and it's about it's about Memorial Day. It's not about, oh my gosh, let's see how wrecked we can get over the next 3 days. And not even if that's not your plan, but go prepared or you're going to prepare to fail.
So I think another way to look at this is flip roles. Okay. So let's just say you've got a cabin or you're with people at a cabin and someone else goes up there and they pack a cooler and they tell you what they're excited about. Hey, I'm working out, I'm down X amount of weight, I'm building some whatever you're excited about, right? Or whatever they're excited about. And they're telling you all the stuff and they're talking about the commitment they're making, and everyone's sitting around a bonfire and they're drinking a bubbly and you're drinking a beer. Are you going to look at them any less? Or are you going to be like, that's awesome? Like you're going to want to support that. So I think that the inconvenience that people build up, it's in your own head,
Yeah.
right? And maybe you get a little guff and it's like, oh, come on, Griff, just have a beer. And I'm like, no, because I don't want your beer gut, dude. Like, and I can push back a little bit. Like I can push back with the best of them, but
Yeah.
have fun with it, right? It doesn't have to be every day. It
Yeah.
doesn't. And like Kim said, if you don't plan, you're going to fail. Or you're putting yourself in a really, really challenging situation to succeed.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean that you can't succeed when it's tough. It makes it more challenging, right? You got to know what you want. You got to know what you want. Is it worth, taking your shirt off and getting on the boat and people are going, damn, You look good.
Just gave me goosebumps. I mean, that's awesome when you.
Oh, I guess that chicken breast you ate last night paid off. Like
I wish
that's,
I would have had that chicken breast.
you know, um, and I've had that reaction towards me when people get blown away by people when they're fit because very few people are fit.
It's
So
fine.
sometimes it's deceiving sometimes because when you hang out at Legacy Fitness, there's a lot of people who have taken their health and their fitness up many levels. So these are the people that you're starting to surround yourself with, but that's not the real world.
Not
That's
the
a
norm.
very, very small portion. So when you go up there with your other friends or your family or getting up there with your neighbors, that's not normal. It's not. You're the outlier. But you're the person that they're going to talk about behind your back saying, well, shit, she looks good. Whatever
Yeah,
she's doing is working. Like
right.
people notice, people are going to acknowledge you, and then they're going to talk behind your back in a positive way. They will. I promise you.
And then
And
they start asking you how you did it, right?
of course, yeah, I mean, when I'm talking to people all the time, like, why are you doing this? Well, my friend is doing it. Like,
Yeah,
that's the reason that people do anything is they were influenced by someone in the slightest. So be the positive influence. Be the person that stands up for yourself, that somebody else says, you know what? I'm going to do that.
yeah.
And
If
I think,
that's the worst they can say about you is that you drank water and had chicken and some fruit instead of all the other, well, bring it on, man. Talk about me all you want. If that's the worst that somebody can say is they didn't, oh my gosh, they didn't eat what everybody else did. Don't be a follower. Be a leader. Yeah.
yeah, step out from the version of you that you're not happy with and create this version of you that you want the world to see, that you want your family to be proud of, that you want to look in the mirror and be excited about the way you look. And I can tell you this firsthand. Uh, the weekends, they're not always easy. A regular weekend is tough. With kids' sports, things are tough. When you travel, things are tough. Um, but I've never stayed committed through a weekend and regretted it the next day.
Mhm.
Never once.
Never.
I've regretted a lot of other things, like where I caved in my nutrition, where I drank bad, where I skipped a workout, where I didn't meet the standards that I wanted to set. I've had a lot of those weekends, hundreds,
Mhm.
hundreds of them. Days, weekends, moments,
Yeah.
and never once have I regretted staying disciplined to a better version of me.
Absolutely. And I would say get up early, get some steps in. I mean, when we're busy on the weekend, that used to just be my goal. Hey, yeah, we can go sit on the motorcycle, but I'm getting my 10,000 steps in. So we're either leaving a little bit later or I have to set the alarm clock early because if I'm going to be sitting more, it just what's your standard to which you want to live by? And then you're going to adjust. Hey, do I have to get up early to do it? Do your goals mean that much to you? And yeah. Watch what you're drinking too. I mean, you can really change it, the trajectory of your food choices by, either limiting or avoiding or even switching out the calorie denseness of the cocktails that you're choosing. Because we all know it's not always about the cocktails, it's about what the heck choices you make after. If the bag of nachos is right next to you, chances are it's going to be empty when you once you just start reaching in. I mean, it's all those little choices.
That being said, if you know those weekends are going to be tough, prepare a week or two in advance. Your body doesn't care what it eats on a daily basis. If you spread this out over 10 days, right? Let's just say over the course of 10 days, you chop out 300 calories a day. Knowing this is coming up, now you can go in there and you get 3,000 extra calories.
Right. But you
So then,
can't do it every weekend. You just, like you always say, string 14 days together. If you have a hard time just doing that, check back in with your why. Because, your goal, I mean, being tough enough to get through just the first 14, I think that's the toughest 14 days. They're the toughest 14 days, but then you really start seeing those changes that start taking place. And that's where motivation stems from. It doesn't walk through your door. Motivation is created through action. And when you start seeing your body changing, like you said, it almost becomes an addiction. And all of the noise and the nonsense and the environment and the dirtiness of everything around you doesn't matter as much because you start becoming bulletproof because you're like, I want more of this great feeling. That's literally where motivation stems from. So if you're sitting there, I just wish I was motivated, then do more. Do more.
Amen to that. That being said, have an awesome weekend. Have a fun weekend. And don't come into next week with regret. Either you're okay with the choices you're going to make, or you stick to the decisions that you want to hold true to the standard. So both are okay if you're willing to live with the repercussions. They are. I've gone to Mexico and just said, for the next week, I'm doing whatever.
Yeah.
Being okay with that. And if
Yeah.
that's you, that's fine. But if you want more, if you want a higher standard, then set yourself up for success, follow through, and show the world what you're made of.
Amen to that.
All right. Have a great day, guys.